Hello, I'm here at home in my kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to twist up a really classic recipe. It's a recipe for choux pastry, and I'm going to be making Nutella profiteroles out of it, which is banging because it's a really nice classic recipe that you can use for loads of stuff like eclairs, Saint-Honor, like loads of fancy French things, or you can just do what I'm going to do, which is like stuff it full of amazing Nutella-y things. So I'm going to show you my recipe for Nutella profiteroles. Now, unlike most pastries, we need to get things hot at the beginning, and that means going over to the hob, so follow me. To start with, I have a saucepan here, and there's 100 grams of unsalted butter in there, and I'm going to add 125 millilitres of water and 125 millilitres of milk. And then a tiny amount of sugar and salt. I've got just a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of sugar, because what you don't want is a really sweet pastry or a really salty pastry, because it's all about kind of the filling that you put inside. So just whack that in, and it's going to take a few minutes on a medium heat, stirring all the time just to melt it all together. Once everything's melted together, you then need to bring it to the boil. And once it's coming to the boil, you just turn it down a little bit, and it's time to add the flour. And I've got 150 grams of plain flour. I'm just going to put that in there. And then really quickly with a wooden spoon, beat that all together, and it's going to come together in a paste. So it just takes a couple of minutes, and it'll become this kind of singular blob thing, and it should come clean away from the sides of the saucepan as well. And you just want to keep doing that for a couple of minutes until it's nice and smooth. Right, that is ready. So I'm just turning the heat off, and I'm going to leave that to cool for about 5 or 10 minutes before we put the eggs in. This paste has been cooling now for about 10 minutes, and I've transferred it to my mixer, and now I'm going to add the eggs. So I'm just going to get it onto a low speed to start with, and then one at a time, cracking the eggs into a bowl first, just slip them in and mix them really well. And once the eggs are completely incorporated with the paste, just keep going with the rest of them. The last of my 4 eggs is completely mixed in, and what I'm left with is this kind of loose paste, and it should form a kind of V when I stick my spoon in and let it drop off, like that. And now it's time to put it into a piping bag. So I've got a nice big one here, and I've got a round nozzle at the end. I've just put it into a glass because this is quite kind of liquidy, so it tends to all kind of go out the end when I put it in. But I'm just going to put it all in there. And you don't have to use this immediately. You can actually refrigerate this for up to a week, and then just use it when you need it, which is quite useful if you don't want to have like loads of profiteroles. You just want like a couple for yourself. Anyway, it's time to get piping. So I've got some baking sheets just lined with greaseproof paper, and I'm going to start piping little blobs onto them. Now, the bigger that you do your blobs, the longer you'll have to cook them for. I'm doing mine sort of this big, and I'm spacing them out about 2 centimetres apart. Now, you can leave them like that, but sometimes the little points will kind of bake into the profiterole and make a little pointy one. So I'm just going to use my finger and a bit of water just to dab the points down. And now it's time to bake them, and I have my oven preheated to 180 degrees C, and I'm going to bake these for 20 to 25 minutes. What I'm looking for is a nice puff and a golden colour on all the outside and underneath. So these look perfect. They've puffed up loads, and they've got a nice golden brown colour all around and on the bottom as well. So I'm just going to leave those to cool down. And meanwhile, I'm going to get on with making the filling and the topping. And the topping is a really, really simple Nutella ganache. And to start with, I have a little saucepan, and it's got 100 grams of double cream, and I'm just going to bring that to the boil. Right, so So my cream has come to the boil, and I also have 75 grams of Nutella. I'm going to add 50 grams of dark 70% cocoa chocolate. And then I'm going to pour over that hot cream. And before I stir it all together, I'm just going to let it sit for a couple of minutes to heat everything all the way through. And once it's had a couple of minutes sitting around, just then give it a really good stir, gently, just to fold it all through and melt everything together. So now that that's all nice and smooth, I'm going to put that to one side and get on with making the filling. And I've got 250 grams of double cream. To that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Nutella. And just whip those together to a sort of loose peak. And once you've done that, just load up a small piping bag with a nozzle on the end if you want. You don't have to, you can just snip a hole in the end. I'm just going to put all of that into my piping bag. And in the time that I've been making that, my profiteroles are completely cool because they're mostly air at the end of the day, so it didn't take them very long. I'm just going to bring them over, and I have a chopstick here, and I'm going to stab them in the bum with my chopstick just to make a little hole. And if you've made your profiteroles right, there should be basically nothing inside. It's usually a cavity. And into that cavity, I am going to squirt our lovely Nutella cream. So just keep going with those until you've filled up your profiteroles. And once you've filled all your profiteroles, then it's time to put the topping on, and it's literally a case of dipping the tops of them into that lovely ganache. And there it is. Look how delicious and shiny that looks. And these aren't really the sort of thing that you want to keep around in the fridge for too long. Like, they really should be eaten on the day that you make them, but do keep them in the fridge until you're ready to eat them. But I'm pretty much ready now, so here goes. Oh, yummy. That lovely whippy cream in the middle, and that Nutella ganache is spot on. And it does kind of set. I feel like I've got chocolate all over my face. Whatever. It does kind of set, but it keeps a really nice shine on it. So these are going to be really nice for a dinner party, or just for yourself, as in my case. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy making these profiteroles. I sure did, and I can't wait to have a party or just any excuse to eat them. Although now I've got 12, so I'm gonna have to eat them. I'll be back next week with another recipe for you guys. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, you can do that by clicking on the link at the end. And if you make my stuff, then please hashtag Cupcake Jemma on Instagram and Twitter, because I love seeing what you guys get up to. And also, speaking of Instagram, don't forget to check out Crumbs Doilies Instagram feed. We do loads of amazing cakes, stuff that doesn't appear on my channel at all kinds of crazy stuff. Really good team of girls doing amazing things. So check that out, as well as checking out Cupcake Jemma on Instagram as well. I'll see you next week. Bye.